Hey, this is pretty clear. Like, you're being paid millions of dollars to be a basketball player. You're being paid to be the face of a city, really, an organization, and one of the faces of a multi-billion-dollar league. Your name is Zion Williamson, and you can't get your fat ass up and play basketball. And frankly, you can't get your fat ass up and play basketball from the start of your career. Back in 2019, Zion Williamson was the number one draft choice in the NBA, an athletic freak, but more importantly, a brilliant basketball player. Made the right passes, whether they were bounce passes, lob passes, made the right play. A little bit, frankly, like LeBron James with his intellect. He was a freak athlete like James. He was strong. He was built. He could do everything on the basketball court like James, including be brilliant. But then something happened, even in 2019, after being the first player picked in the draft. His fat Dupayage played one summer league game and couldn't make it through. Why? Nobody wants to say, but of course we all knew. Couldn't stop eating. It's fat. It's fat. He's fatting himself out of the league. He's Oliver Millering it. He's becoming a joke. He's becoming a meme. He's becoming a punchline, and it's sad because this might, Zion Williamson, be the most talented, engaging player we've had in the NBA since Magic Johnson. True? He's got the great smile. He's got the electric ability. He's got the kind of the likability, but he's fat, and he can't stop being fat. And this isn't just this year where, what did he play, 28 games, 29 games? Only plays in 29 games. He's got a hamstring. Yeah, so do I. Yeah, I never had hamstrings until, guess what? I weigh 250. When I weighed 210, never had a hamstring, never had a back, never had nothing. I'm fat. And I know that in the weird world that we live in, where good is bad and bad is good, fat now is celebrated as healthy, which is complete crap. Everybody and their mother knows it. Just go to your doctor. They'll tell you lose weight. Every time I go to the doctor, he's like, hey, Dan, your back hurts. Yeah, lose weight. Your knees hurt. Yeah, lose weight. Your face hurts. Yeah, run, and you'll lose head weight. I'm serious. Just the idea that fat is healthy is idiotic, and look no farther than Zion Williamson. And the problem for Zion Williamson is now the cover is blown. Back in 2019, people were giving him excuses left and right. Are you kidding me? Oh, he's just been since college, not doing much. He was the number one pick. He had to go to this place, had to go to the Wooden Awards, had to go to the Naismith Awards, had to go to this, had to go to that. Don't you worry about old Zion. He's going to be damn good to go when it's time to be good to go. Well, we knew at the time. I'm sitting there at the Summer League game discussing with my director of the games that I was doing. I wasn't doing the games with that Zion's was because he wasn't playing. But we're talking about how to approach Zion. And I looked at him. I go, well, he's fat. You can't play basketball fat. Charles Barkley came on this show about a year ago. And Charles said Moses Malone changed his life. How did Moses Malone change his life? Moses Malone told Charles Barkley, you can't play in the NBA fat. So what did Barkley do? He got skinny. What'd Barkley do? He became a great, not a good, a great player. Skinny. Good player, fat. Interesting. Oh, isn't it fun to watch? Look at the heavy guy. But it is unhealthy. It is dangerous for the team that gave you a ton of money. And this guy is just stealing money. Yeah, he's got a cool looking earring. Wow. Look at his jacket. Man, I want to go buy it. He's got all the crap, but he doesn't have the game. He doesn't have nothing. He doesn't have the ability right now to run up and down a basketball court for 10 minutes, much less 48 minutes. And, ladies and gentlemen, that's what he's getting paid millions of dollars to do. And that's what people are paying thousands of dollars to do. Thousands of dollars is what what people are paying, because when they go get their tickets, they want to see Zion, and you should. He's that kind of good. But fat ain't good, people. 114 games in his career. That's not even a season and a half. Because he's fat. Not because he's injured. Don't give me that crap. Don't give me that crap, Vanity Fair crap, where, well, fat is beautiful. Let's get plus-size models. No. No. Stop it. Don't want to hear it. Fat ain't beautiful. Fat is dangerous. Fat is unhealthy. And fat slows you down. And if, ladies and gentlemen, we want to celebrate it, then we should celebrate everything that is awful for you. Because being fat is awful. Load management. I'll tell you where the load is on Zion Williamson, is in his stomach and in his backside. I guarantee you there's some back fat there. Well, you're being racist. No, I'm not. I'd say the same thing about a white dude. Doesn't matter to me what color you are if you're fatting yourself out of the playoffs and your teammates got to go out there and bust it. Brandon Ingram's busting it. Brandon Ingram's playing his brains out while his fat teammate has the nerve to sit there and watch. Tired of guys cheating us. Tired of it. Let's go the other way. Did you see this last night? Did you see what Zach LaVine did? And he wasn't even the star. Zach LaVine had 32 for the Bulls in the second half. Now think about that. 32 in a playoff game. That's Michael Jordan-like. If Zach LaVine was even a little bit likable, that would be a big deal. When you drive up I-65 towards Chicago and you get into Maryville, there was a time where every billboard for this health company had a Zach LaVine picture. There were three things that you saw on your way to O'Hare Airport. Zach LaVine promoting a health company, Urlacher promoting new hair, Ryan Sandberg promoting new hair. Billboards everywhere. And LaVine was totally unlikable. I mean, totally unlikable. But that's the opposite of DeMar DeRozan. No. I did not. I said DeMar DeRozan. That's right. I didn't say DeMar DeRozan. I said DeMar DeRozan. The 9-year-old daughter of DeMar DeRozan. She was screaming like a crazy woman last night every time the Raptors, shot a free throw. It was granite-piercing screams. And the 9-year-old made it work. The 9-year-old made it work because the Raptors went 18 for 36, blew a 19-point lead. Yes, DeMar DeRozan was terrific. Yes, Zach LaVine was fantastic. No question about it. But the star of the show, DeMar DeRozan, screaming, yelling, boom. Awesome. See, that's the good stuff in sports. That's the great stuff in sports. You got a team like the Bulls, seemingly down and out. They don't quit. Guy gets hot. Next thing you know, they are rocking and rolling. And then you add to it with the daughter of one of their players contributing. That to me is fun, ladies and gentlemen. Not watching fat dudes in their little jackets sitting on the sideline where their players are busting it. Serious business. That's fun. I'll tell you what else is fun. The Rays. The Rays have won their 12th straight. How about that? 12 straight. Like 12 wins to start a season is one thing. The record is 13. But the Rays? I know they've been good. I know they started the whole Joe Madden analytics thing, and Kevin Cash et al. Has kept it going. And Kevin Kiermaier, who is a kid that grew up in Indiana as their center fielder, makes a spectacular play every night. I say this with reluctance because Kiermaier is a massive Purdue fan. But that's all right. But the truth of the matter is they started out winning 12 in a row. Record's 13. Will they get to 13? You know what happens in these instances? Follow me along here. All of a sudden, we start talking about it, right? All of a sudden, we're out here going, hey, they're one short of the major league record. Look at this. Oh, my God, look at where they're at. And next thing you know, because of the publicity, Because of what's said, I believe because of the karma from talking about it. It's like a no-hitter in the seventh. You don't talk about it. Next thing you know, boom. You see right there, Jacob G says they had 12,000 at their game last night. Oh, that's terrible. You know what, though? I wouldn't mind being a Rays fan. See, I always have liked going to baseball games with no one there. Until I went to Wrigley and Miguel Montero, whatever the hell his name is, hit a grand slam and Wrigley in the playoffs, and Wrigley Field was absolutely crazy. That was different. That was better. But used to be you'd go to Wrigley, sit down the left field line, nobody was there. And you could run after foul balls as a kid or as a high school kid. But 12,000 people, that's 1,000 for every win. That seems about right. The only true Rays fan that I know is Dick Vitale. Dick Vitale has had the best seats in the house for 127 years. However long the Rays have been in there. And good for Dickie V, man. Good for Dickie V. Dickie V gets to celebrate his team being good. And I got to tell you, after years of being in a dumpster, and after years of not only being in a dumpster, but in the toughest division, the last, 10, 15 years, the Rays have been great. Still in the toughest division. You got Boston, you got Toronto, you got the Yankees, you got teams that'll spend. And there they are. There they are. Go ahead and say it, people. I'm going to jump back to Zion. It ain't bad to tell you Zion Williamson is fat. Well, let's put it this way. He ain't skinny. He ain't in shape. He's sitting there dunking in warm-ups, and nobody will say it because we always, for some reason, protect the poor NBA player. Oh, my God, the poor NBA player. What are we going to do? I don't know. I don't get it. It's crap. All right, NFL. I'm starting to think this. I'm starting to think this in the NFL. I don't think anybody truly wants any of these quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are going to go. Bryce Young's going to go. No question about it. C.J. Stroud's going to go. But the more I talk to people, nobody says, well, these quarterbacks are great. Urban said they're both going to start, C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, from the get-go. Urban said, hey, look, I like them. They're both going to start. Stroud has special instinct, special vision. I get it. I'm fine with that. Fine, good. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think anybody really likes him. I keep hearing that. Well, you're kind of in a quandary here. There are different quandaries in the NFL. One of the worst quandaries, I want you to follow me with this, is when you know you're not talented enough and you can't get the right guy. That's where the Colts are. The Colts are 32nd in the NFL according to ESPN power ratings. Now, I don't know what that means. Last time they were 32nd, Ryan Grigson became the GM, Pagano became the coach, and Luck became the quarterback, and they made the playoffs and went 11-5. So we'll see what this does. We'll see what happens here with this new regime. But the Colts are the perfect example. They need a quarterback like I need hair. But are they in a position to get one? The dream of Lamar Jackson is dead for everybody. If your team thought they were getting Lamar Jackson, I swear to you, it ain't happening. All you got to do is read the tea leaves with OBJ celebrating, being recruited, and hanging out with Lamar Jackson. Next thing you know, OBJ signs. Next thing you know, everybody else is off the table for Lamar Jackson in the draft. When you're the Colts and maybe other teams, you're in a position where, we got to love the fourth pick in the draft. We got to love them. We got to love, not like. We got to love a quarterback. You're telling me you love Will Levis. You're telling me you love Anthony Richardson. Remember, with Anthony Richardson, how you play on Saturday is normally how you're going to play on Sunday. How did Anthony Richardson play on Sunday? Well, he played well enough to get a coach fired, or poorly enough to get a coach fired. He played poorly enough to complete 53% of his passes. I don't know what to tell you. How did Levis play? Well, Levis played, I guess, okay his junior year, his senior year, whatever year you call these things. Team wasn't very good. Running back was out, and he wasn't able to elevate him. And then you watch these two, and you say to yourself, well, I'd take Richardson because I just like everything about Richardson. I wouldn't take Levis because Levis has a punchable face. And he does all this and all the stupid stuff that people that are quarterbacks should not be doing. Serious business. I don't think anybody likes these. That's not right. I think they like him. I don't think they love these guys. I don't think that any team, I've not heard, and I've talked to 6 different people from 6 different organizations. Actually 7, 2 from the same. And I got to tell you, I don't think anybody likes him. No. Let me say it again. I don't think anybody loves him. It's not like, yes, the fans are going to be fired up when Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud gets announced. But it's not like internally, I'm not feeling that the team that gets these guys isn't jumping up and down knowing they've got something. I equate it to gambling. When I put together a parlay, I like to put together one game in that parlay that I know is going to win. That's Andrew Luck. That's Peyton Manning. That's maybe Patrick Mahomes coming out. See, I think there's 2 different ways. I think when you go draft Mitchell Trubisky, you've tricked yourself into liking somebody. And I think when you draft Patrick Mahomes in the same draft, you're sitting there giddy going, man, these guys don't know what they don't know. And what they don't know is that Mahomes really has an internal fortitude that these others don't. That's when you really know. I remember watching kids when I was at Bowling Green on the AAU circuit, hoping that Ohio State and Michigan and all those schools wouldn't really watch this kid. And I would look over and I'd see, the coach at Michigan or Ohio State talking and blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, good. And every time they came, they were great players until, of course, maybe most of them transferred because I was too mean. But I got to tell you, I just don't think they like him. I just don't think they love him. I don't. If you're Stephen A. Smith, well, I'm going to get into Stephen A. Smith and his love for Trump. See, the thing you got to understand about Donald Trump is Donald Trump was a Democrat. Donald Trump was beloved by the African-American power folks, Jesse Jackson, all the guys that had real power. Donald Trump was loved by him. Why? Because he donated to him. Because he took care of him. That's why anybody loves anybody when you get older. Let's be honest. Hey, man, I really like that guy. Why? Well, he takes care of me when I show up at so-and-so. Now, sometimes you take care of people because you like their product. I'll give you an example. There's a distillery over here called Moondrops. Moondrops, I didn't know them. I just happened to try their lemonade. And I'm like, wow, is this good? Holy cow. The Bonfire Blend. And I'm like, well, I want to promote that. So I started promoting it when I was at the radio station because I liked it and then said I want to be a part of it because it's local. That's what I like to do. I like local. But then the other way is, well, this guy takes care of me, so I like him. Meaning, had Moondrops come to me and said, hey, Dan, we want to pay you to advertise, I'd like him because everybody likes being paid. Do you see my point here? They like Donald Trump. The African-American community, Stephen A. Smith included, liked Donald Trump because, look, he was a part. He gave. He cared. And he cared as a president. Now, the problem you have if you're Stephen A. Smith is, hey, ESPN, I like Donald Trump. Does that mean that Ryan Clark isn't going to work with him? Does that mean that L. Duncan is going to shun him? Does that mean that Laura Rutledge is going to be nervous being around like they all are with Sage Steele? Is that what that means? They're all nervous about being around Sage because she's a conservative. They're all nervous because, well, Laura Rutledge, I don't know what's going to happen with my career. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to be allowed to be on stage. Bah, it's crap. Nobody said anything about Donald Trump being a racist until when? He ran for damn president. He was on the other side, and next thing you know, people lost their daggone minds. You know, I'll tell you something else. Popovich went on a rant. David Hookstead, our friend, wrote an article about old Pop going on an anti-gun rant. Hey, look, me personally, I don't really have a problem with guys going on whatever rants they want. I don't think David does either. We like free speech. See, here at OutKick, we don't attack you for having opinions differing from us. We attack the hypocrisy. We attack the total BS. We attack the fact that, wait a second, that's just not true. And that's where the great David Hookstead comes in here, because nobody attacks hypocrisy better than D. Hookstead. But I got to tell you, I've had enough of Luke Fickell. Before we get into this, Hookstead is like America's greatest Wisconsin fan. Every time Luke Fickell takes a dump, somebody writes about the culture being changed at Wisconsin. Luke Fickell went into the men's room. He came out 20 minutes later. Guess what? The culture at Wisconsin football has changed. I like Luke Fickell. I know Luke Fickell. I've had enough. Win a game first.
Well, hey, I want to win as many games as you possibly can. I'll tell you what, Dan, I'll write you a check for $1 million, hard, cold cash. You can point to that headline. But I'll tell you this, I write what people read. When people stop reading about it, I'll stop writing about it. That's how the business we're in works.
I know, but damn. All right, Luke, get some thin ankles going. Let's get down the field a little bit. Let's open it up. Let's still play defense. Let's still run the ball, because we do that. But let's open it up. Hey, Greg Popovich and I played at the same Little League. He was older than me. Greg Popovich is from my hometown. I'm proud to say that. But Greg Popovich, you knew he had a stance. Give me your take. You wrote the article on old Pop.
Yeah, well, I think Ted Cruz kind of summed it up very well in the fact that Greg Popovich works in an industry where there's cops guarding the locker room, guarding the tunnel, guarding the bench, people with guns, and yet he wants to sit up there and lecture Americans about the Second Amendment. He calls it a myth. It's not a myth. It's actually very real. It's in the Bill of Rights, which this country is one of the pillars of this great country. But more importantly than this, I don't have an issue with anyone holding any opinion they want to have. I have an issue with the hypocrisy, and what I really have an issue with is someone thinking because they're a basketball coach, they somehow matter more than the average person does when it comes to their political beliefs. Greg Popovich won 22 games this year, I think. Spend a little more time focusing on that and a little less time focusing on lecturing middle-class Americans, and maybe you'll have more success. Just my thoughts.
You know what's great about that? Because in coaching, that's the way it always comes down. Like I always said, people get much more interesting when they win. Their opinions are much more valid when they win. Pop is a Hall of Famer because they drafted David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and were smart enough to get Ginobili and Parker. That's it. Nothing that he's done before or since.
Well, right. And the important thing to remember, and I know all the smart OutKick viewers watching this right now, and we know there's a ton of them watching because your show is a huge hit. Congrats on the extension, by the way. Very exciting.
Thank you.
You're a basketball coach. You get paid to win basketball games. If I want your opinion on winning basketball games, I'll ask you and I'll weigh it more than my opinion because I'm not a basketball coach. After that, your opinion on guns, healthcare, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, that's just your opinion as an American. You're not an expert. And when you work in an industry where cops guard you and they protect you, I don't want to hear you tell me how you should take guns away from everyone else. Tell me how to run a great offense, run a great defense. That's where your opinion matters more to me.
Does his opinion, let's just take out who he is and what he is, does what he's saying hold water?
Not one bit. Not one bit. I will tell you this, Dan, and let's get into a little bit of the facts of the matter. Rifles, which everyone seems to have a problem with, account for a minor fraction. We're talking a couple hundred deaths a year out of what's mostly gang wars and suicide. So these people who are trying to ban guns, they're not even focused on anything that would move the needle. Ted Cruz in his comments made it very clear he's for armed security in school. I am for protecting kids by any means necessary. But here's a hard pill that is going to be tough for some people to swallow, but it's true. Psychos who want to do harm and don't care if they die in the process are very hard to stop. And we live in a country of 340 million people. We have freedoms. Bad people exist. We're going to try to combat those bad people. Unfortunately, you can't stop them all. It is what it is. And I hate to say that, but you can't stop every psycho who doesn't care if they die in a blaze of glory.
Let me ask you a question, though. He talks about automatic weapons. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in theory and maybe in law, automatic weapons are not for sale to just, I can't walk in and go buy an automatic weapon, or can I? What's the process?
You cannot walk into a gun store and buy what is referred to as a Class 3 firearm, which is a fully automatic weapon, a suppressor, a short barrel rifle, short barrel shotgun. Those laws have been on the books for decades. You can get one now. It's going to be very expensive. You're talking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. You're talking extensive background, fingerprinting, all this extra stuff. So for all intensive purposes, the regular American does not have access to fully automatic weapons unless they're rich, very, very, very rich, and can get their hand and can afford it and go through the process. So anyone who says you can walk into Walmart and buy an automatic weapon is lying to you. That's what they're lying.
That seems to be the prevailing theme, though, right? That anybody, anywhere, you can go to a gun show, you can go anywhere and get an automatic weapon. I actually believed that years ago when I was railing against it, and then I learned a little bit and said, wait a second, it's just not that simple.
Right, absolutely not. It's not that simple. That law went into effect in the 1930s. There was another law that went into effect in the 1980s banning further manufacturers, so you only have what's in circulation. Now, can you get a pump-action shotgun, a semi-automatic pistol rifle? Sure, but that's different. That's one bullet per pull of the trigger. That's not an automatic weapon. So you see these politicians who claim an AR-15 can shoot 60 rounds in 10 seconds. No, actually, that's not a functional use of the weapon. And I know people who've used AR-15s. I know people who've used M4s in combat, and they'll be the first people to tell you the average politician has no idea what they're talking about when it comes to how those weapons work. But they're scary looking. They're what the Army looks like, what they carry, so people freak out. It's a complex issue, but they don't have any idea what they're talking about.
Do you think as we move forward here, and Popovich is just one of many, including President Biden, who I guess his answer to everything is wait till there's a shooting, then blame Republicans. That's how it seems to me. Do you think there's a movement here to do something about guns in this country?
Well, my question is, we have about 20,000 laws. So anyone who's pushing for gun control, I'd say we have 20,000 laws, roughly gun laws on the books. Murder is already illegal. People who are mentally ill cannot have weapons. People on substance abuse issues cannot have weapons. These laws exist. So what new law do these people want other than going door to door and just taking your guns away? Which, to be fair, is what they want. They just don't want to come out and say it. There's no new law that prevents that. If you're on drugs, you can't have a gun. If you're mentally ill, you can't have a gun. If you're a criminal, you can't have a gun. You can't murder people, period. So what law would they like? That's what I want an answer to that.
Yeah, it's interesting. People say tougher gun laws. Okay. The answer to the simplistic statement of tougher gun laws is Chicago, right? Where they have these really tough gun laws and everybody just shoots because they go to Indiana or somewhere. They're getting guns. Tougher gun laws is fluff. It isn't, specific. What do you want to be done with guns is what I would do as a politician if I were on that side of this equation. Here is exactly what I want done. Here is what some laws are. They're not working. I propose this. You see what I'm saying? Be specific.
Absolutely. And I will tell you this, Dan, I live in Washington, D.C. We have some of, if not the strictest gun laws in America. I don't feel safe walking around. Guns are de facto banned here unless you're willing to jump through a million hoops. The criminals run this city. Make no mistake about it. Washington, D.C. is run by the criminals and the gangs who all seem to be armed to the teeth. But I, as an average American, I have to get on my knees and beg the government to defend myself. So I live in a city just like Chicago. And I can tell you, Dan, it doesn't make me feel safe knowing only the criminals are armed.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, and I did not understand that. I'm not going to lie to you. People would tell me that, and I'm like, that's crap. I'm going about 6-7 years ago. Now I understand it a little bit. Let me ask you another question. I'm really railing on this because, I got women in my life that are very strong, very athletic. One still playing. I talk about her all the time. At Harvard, I see what happened, two things. I see what happened to Riley Gaines being attacked, being held hostage. And you know what? The sports media, ESPN and others, which is supposedly covering all things now, political, women, sport, haven't touched this. And of course, the other thing is Dylan Mulvaney. I love what John Rich did, who owns, he's got a very popular bar right on Broadway. He's like, hey, I'm not taking it off Bud Light, Budweiser, but no one's ordering it because they went to a fake woman as the damn spokesperson.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and we just covered a different one yesterday where a popular lingerie company is now using a man to promote their lingerie. It makes no sense. The Riley Gaines thing to me is simply disgusting. They held her and they sat in the hallway and demanded money to let her go. I don't know how that's not kidnapping. If I did that to someone and said, if you don't pay me, I'm not going to let you leave, I'd be in prison. But if it happens in San Francisco, I guess it's just funny and humorous. And the San Francisco State University president released a statement about how it was traumatic, I guess, for the campus. What about Riley Gaines? That's a 22-year-old woman exercising her free speech who is harassed, attacked, touched against her will. And then you have Dylan Mulvaney, Bud Light. The average Bud Light fan, I think before this, was probably your average OutKick fan. Loves America, loves college football, likes to drink cheap, cold beer. That's what I am for sure. And all of a sudden, they're going to Dylan Mulvaney, who just makes a mockery of women and acts like women are stupid. This is what happens. You play woke games, you win stupid prizes. Bud Light deserves the backlash. It's appalling. All of it's appalling. It makes no sense.
The one thing I will say about Bud Light's ad, and this is just like sports, whatever saying you want, proof is in the pudding, it's going to come out in the wash, whatever saying, it's either going to work and we're going to know it, or it's not going to work and we're going to know it. There is no hiding when you're talking about beer sales. There is no hiding when you talk about beer distribution, product distribution. We're all going to know the answer to the question very soon here.
In the stock price, pay attention to what the stock price is too, because it's dropped. Right. If that drop continues, you're really going to see it. I think Clay said on his show, belittle any of your friends that keeps drinking Bud Light. I don't know if I'll go that far, but I haven't had a Bud Light. I can't even tell you. I certainly haven't had one since this controversy started, and I have no urge to have one anytime soon. Know your market. Play your game, in the words of Herb Brooks, the famous hockey coach. Play your game. Bud Light, this is not your game. This is not your, what are you doing?
I'm big on the protest. I am big. Ever since I was in 6th grade, my father got fired by a guy who was a superintendent of schools. My dad was a principal of a public school in Gary. He gets fired. He had punched this guy in a bar 2 years earlier. The guy becomes his boss and fires him, makes him a 7th grade typing teacher. The entire school, secretaries, teachers, all walked out and marched. It became national news, so I've always liked the protest. I'm going to protest. There is a product of Bud Lights or Budweiser that is out there that had become my favorite beer. This protest is going to hurt me. This protest is going to hurt my summer drinking. But damn it, David, I'm standing up. I'm standing tall. I'm standing strong. I'm protesting. I ain't drinking it.
Absolutely. And guess what, Dan? You're not alone. There, as we've seen by the stock prices and all the stories from the bar owners, there's millions of people who are going to be protesting right there with you.
I got to ask you, LeBron James in the playoffs, a good thing or tiring or both?
Well, the NBA's ratings are lackluster, to say the least. So it's a good thing. I don't like LeBron James. I don't like anyone who cowers to the Chinese dictatorship and pretends that they're a great governing body. I think it's disgusting. But having said that, I get paid to tell the truth. You get paid to tell the truth. That's why people come to OutKick. LeBron James is the most famous player in the NBA. So anything LeBron James is involved in is better for the NBA than if he's not. So as much as it pains me to say, it's good for the NBA.
And you know what? I think you have your sentiments right there are what I've said is, look, I need star power. If the Lakers are in and LeBron James isn't, I'm not watching the Lakers. I could give a rat's about fat Zion Williamson or Ja Morant. I want to see guys that I know, and I think you're right. I think it's good for the NBA, probably good for the average fan. I'm asking people because one thing about LeBron James, David, is, man, that dude is polarizing as hell. He really is.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. I mean, let's never forget LeBron James did two things that I think you can't forgive. Number one, when Daryl Morey spoke up for freedom in Hong Kong, LeBron James flipped out and then attacked the First Amendment. He said, yeah, we have freedom of speech, but there's consequences for that. Wrong answer, buddy. Your only answer when dealing with the Chinese dictatorship is that you should say they're disgusting, and I refuse to work with the communist CCP. Treat them like the Soviet Union in the Cold War. The second thing he did, which everyone forgets about, is he doxed that police officer who shot and killed the woman who tried to stab the girl. And he said, you're next, as if he wanted to set his 50 million Twitter followers on. Cop did nothing wrong. He was cleared. He had to shoot and kill someone to save a young black girl's life. Disgusting. LeBron James is a great basketball player, not a very smart person off the court, and we shouldn't pretend like he is.
I agree. Did you see PETA's after him too? PETA's after him because there is a community center that he apparently owns in Akron. In it is a Starbucks. In that Starbucks, they serve milk. And PETA's mad at LeBron James because they serve milk in a Star. He does catch it from all sides, and deservedly so.
Well, only PETA could get me to side with LeBron James. Look, milk is as American as it comes. I eat bacon and eggs every single morning to this day. I drank a glass of milk every morning growing up. If that's the best line of attack PETA has on LeBron James on that issue to show how fair I am, I 100% side with LeBron James.
I know. That's why I said it, because it's like, wait a second here. 99.9% of the time, you're like, screw LeBron James. And then when P does, you're like, hey, what the hell is this? You know what I mean?
It's an unlikely alliance I didn't see coming.
I didn't either, but that's what I do on this show. I'm Henry Kissinger back in the 70s. I bring people together. I bring them together. Right. I'm Al Haig. I bring people together, man. That's what I do. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you.
Have a good one, Dan.
Oh, man, I love talking. D. Hookstead. Go to him right now. Get on Twitter. Go to DHOOKSTEAD. Now, go do it, please. I got a lot to get to today. LeBron James can. Look, if PETA's after you, then LeBron James, or I side with LeBron James. I'm not saying I'm right. But PETA's mad at James because James apparently has a Starbucks in his community center in Akron that serves milk. Jeez. Hey, man, if they try to take away hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet, then we really got a problem. We do. Planet Tyrus is coming on here at 10 o'clock. Go to the YouTube channel right now. Let's go. Subscribe, push the bell, ring the bell. You'll get alerts on our show. Our show is just rocking and rolling through YouTube, and I thank all of my tremendous following, my people on YouTube who bring it every day. Like, there is not a day that I could come on this show and half-ass it for you, because my YouTube people, they bring it. I must bring it. We're not messing around. Today's getaway day for me, by the way. Tomorrow I'll be doing the show, 6 in the morning Vegas time, from a casino. That's right. I'll be at the Hard Rock / Bally's. I don't know. I guess Bally's. No. Yeah, I think it's Bally's. No, it's not Bally's. I forget what it is. My brother made the Mirage. The Mirage / Hard Rock. I'll be in the casino doing the show 6 in the morning. You know, as hard as I run people, I may be just getting in at 6 in the morning. I may be still hammered. No, I'll be in bed by 8 tonight. Be right back.
Guys, my primary complaint this week. Well, I'm not complaining about this. It did take way too long. It's been over, but now it's officially not a national emergency any longer. COVID officially ended, signed by our president yesterday, but that was yesterday, April 11th. But on March 18th, Novak Djokovic could not play in the Miami Open. And currently, non-vaccinated, non-Americans cannot enter the country as of right now. In this madness, allow him to play. It is time to even stop thinking about giving exemptions and just open it up like we've all been doing anyway. That's my primary complaint.
Weird how suddenly this isn't being xenophobic and hateful when you're blocking people from other countries that come in that don't get a vaccination. Crazy how that works and how it's covered. Look, I'm not going to name the name of this place because I still hold out hope that one day, maybe one day, we can have a fast food place sponsor this show or anything sponsor this show. So I will not out the company I'm talking about right now. But I will just say that I recently had some chicken tenders from a place known for chicken tenders. And they're also known for a great sauce. And the only thing recognizable about this meal that I had was the sauce. Because the chicken tenders didn't look, didn't feel, didn't taste like any of the chicken tenders I've ever had from this well-known chicken tender place. They were about not even half the size, maybe a quarter the size of what the chicken tenders looked like when I started frequenting this place for their chicken tenders. Fast food, if anything, needs to be consistent and predictable. I'm not going because it's going to make me feel better or give me a health kick. I'm going because the food tastes good and I'm familiar with the taste. And if I get a craving for it after coaching softball one night and I want to take my daughter through the drive-thru there, it's because I want to go back to that familiar place where I know exactly what I'm going to get.
File this under WTF. I assume you all know what that means. Is this? What the is this? Listen to this. A lingerie company uses a non-binary man to sell lingerie. Swear to God. I'm not going to say the name of the company. I'm not saying nothing. But so women now cannot even sell lingerie that women wear. Maybe they're selling it to men, but I got to tell you, even with these D cups I've established in this dad bod, I don't think I need a bra. A manzier maybe, a bro. But do I really need a bra? Do I really need this guy selling me lingerie? Now look, he's ripped. Good. But is that really what we want? Are women so repugnant, so repulsive to companies that you can't have women selling lingerie? Is that what this is? Like, is it we got to be so hip and so cool that everybody wants to buy our lingerie because, well, women aren't the only ones wearing it? I got to tell you, I think this is crap. I think this is ridiculous. I think this is offensive to women. But you know what? Genderless lingerie is the future of our country, according to different studies at different places. Genderless. Lingerie brands are challenging the binary, one collection at a time. Good for you. Look at these freak shows. Honest to God. Good. Hey, look, if that's your thing, I don't want to hear, though, about how our mental health crisis, when these 20-somethings realize when they're 30 what idiots they were, how ridiculous they were, and they decide, wait a second, I'm going to go with science and I'm going to be a man or a woman. You know, we're going to have to live with all these sob stories coming up in about 10 years. You know we are. I hope I'm still alive for it. We're going to have to listen to these sob stories of these guys and gals that mutilated themselves in the transgender movement. We're going to have to listen to all of this crap as we move forward. You know we are. You know how it goes. When people are young, they do all these wacky things. Used to be drugs and sex, and then we had to listen to Danny Bonaducci and all these guys' sob stories about how I was a teenager. There was so much pressure and I didn't know what to do, and blah, 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 blah. So that's what's coming next. What's coming next is the guy on the left there, or the guy on the right there, in about 10 years, selling a book telling us how, well, you know, I got caught up in a movement and I didn't know what to do. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. It's 1,000% coming. I got to get on Oprah. Oprah, I got caught in the movement and I went and I got mutilated. You know it is. It always does. It's not if, it's when. It's not maybe, it's for sure. So all these little guys and gals that are caught up in this little movement, they're all going to be on your TV in about 6 to 10 years with their sob stories, and away we go. We already talked about Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith did something that most African Americans that understood back in the day and needed help with businesses or needed exposure, they went to Donald Trump. I'm sorry, they did. See, one of the things that white people miss about the African American community is that real means something. See, to white people, real means like I got to act like something that I'm not. I learned through coaching kids through years, just be real. I had a player, a great player, tell me, Coach, you're the first white guy that ever had the guts to yell at me. I said, well, have you been around white guys? Yeah, of course. My high school coach, my AAU coach, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, what was their problem? Well, they couldn't get real with me. They were afraid. I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. I've always been taught, be real, be honest, judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. That's what I've always been taught. Hey, Dylan, can we take a quick break? I'll be right back.
Brady recently retiring. Your locker was very close to Tom's locker, wasn't
right next
it?
to 12, yeah.
What was that like?
Man, it was cool, man. He a funny dude, man. He's a nice guy. Joke with him every day. You know, he's a good dude, man. He's probably one of the only dudes that I know that walk around in a bathrobe in the locker room, bro. So
You go up against him in practice all the time. Could you see that big jump coming from Daniel Jones going into this season?
Man, when I first played against Daniel, you know, coming in last year and seeing him work, man, I knew, you know, the talent that he had. It was just one of those things where, you know, you always hear the saying, God's timing is always right. It was just one of those moments where you knew eventually it was going to click and everything was going to work out, not just for him, but for us as a team. And I'm just so happy for him.
Which video game are you most proud of making the cover for?
Oh, definitely Madden. Madden, yeah. Like I remember I come from a big family. My mom had 6 sisters and 1 brother, and a lot of cousins, 30-some cousins, and you know. And I remember one of the younger ones was like, "Man, you're on Madden. You're really good." And I was like, "Cuz, like, I was the high school #1 player in the country.
Yeah.
I broke every record at Alabama, All-American. I get the pros. I'd won the MVP already. You know?
Yeah.
Been to the Super Bowl, won the MVP. He's like, now because of man, now you're cool. I was like, oh, okay.
You had done a few things.
Yeah. You know, now I'm good. Okay, all right. Well, that's how it works in y'all's minds.
And I remember when I first started working in the morning news. Shout out to Drew Kaliski, super producer for NFL Today. He was just talking about season. How you feeling? You know, you ready to go? Are you excited? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like awkwardly hesitating to ask me a question. And I'm like, what's up, man? Speak your piece. And he's like, do you know what's going on in the NFL? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, do you know who plays for what teams and who's been traded where? I'm like, yeah, bro, what do you think? I'm living under a rock? And this is my job. I'm studying just like anything else.
What can I tell you? You guys and gals that have watched this show, you know the deal. You know it comes once in a while. It just does. I don't know what to do about it, and sometimes I just got to go. But Stephen A. Smith, ladies and gentlemen, he came out and, well, he defended Donald Trump, said he liked him. Then he ran for president. And then people get taking words and mixing them up and putting them in a word salad, and then always coming out the other end saying, well, you know what? You're racist. You're sexist. Nobody ever called Donald Trump racist. Nobody ever called him sexist before he went and ran for president. But now you have to do it, right? You've got to say that he's racist or sexist because that's the way you heard him. In the modern world, people that knew the guy knew that he wasn't. People that knew the guy knew he's a stand-up guy. Not the greatest human being alive, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is he certainly wasn't as portrayed. Look, anytime you don't just acquiesce in this world, bow down, bend a knee, whatever you want to call it, to the ist population, the phobic population, whatever it is, anytime you don't just bend down, you know the deal. You clearly know the deal, and that is you are going to be called an ist, you are going to be called phobic, you are going to be called them. There you go. So, at the end of the day, the deal is very simple. Very simple. Don't pay attention to anybody who leads with racist or transphobic or homophobic. Don't pay attention to any of them because they're nuts. They're nuts, and they're changing the narrative on you because they want you to hate. Don't hate. Don't hate, baby. Procreate. NPR has quit Twitter over the accurate label of being government-funded media. Now, that is one way to get rid of fake news. You know who else just joined them today? I'll tell you who just joined them today. PBS just joined them today in getting off of Twitter. So we got NPR, who's mad because they were called government-funded, which I don't know, they are. And, of course, PBS, which, of course, is government-funded, they have quit Twitter. Well, that'll show us. Damn it. Who doesn't go to Twitter to find out what NPR and PBS is thinking? Look, I listen to NPR occasionally, not very recently. Certainly haven't in a while. Used to watch PBS because my sister used to have an hour of television where she got to watch her shows, Zoom and Sesame Street. I was not happy about that as a kid. I was pissed. Sure was. But anyway, so there you go. That's the deal. NPR got called out as being government-owned, government-funded, didn't like it, took their ball and ran, and so did just an hour ago, so did PBS. So good for them. We talked about this the other day, and this is interesting to me. You know, these economic times hurt everybody, and everybody seems to tell me, or wants to tell me, that the NBA is flush with cash. The NBA's billions of dollars TV contracts covers everything. Those are up. Those are coming up. Well, the NBA office said, wait a second, we're not hiring anybody. They're limiting hiring, they're cutting spending, and they fear a massive recession is on the horizon. Well, welcome to Joe Biden's economy. Welcome to what we have all been dealing with for the entire time Joe Biden has been in office. Welcome to it, NBA. This is what we see when we go to the store. This is what we see when we go to the pump. This is what we see when we look at our 401k. This is what we see when we try to buy, of all things, frickin' eggs. It's what we see every day. And NBA, you're just figuring this out? Well, good for you. Well, when it hits companies that were just given cash for a variety of reasons, one, they're given cash because the product people like to watch. I'm sorry. I know the ratings are down, but you know what? People do like to watch sports, live sports on television. They just do. It's our escape. We don't have to worry about the price of eggs. We don't have to worry about the price of gas. Our escape becomes things like the NBA. Now, NBA is going to tell you 97% capacity, highest in the history of the NBA. In-game watching up. Clay, others that actually pay attention to television ratings will tell you this. TV ratings are in the tank. They've dipped. It's no good. People don't want to watch. Hey, look, I don't know. But I know this. This time of year, I have always said this. I have always said that the NBA playoffs, to me, this guy, two thumbs, this guy, were more exciting, more interesting to me than March Madness. And people lost their mind on me, particularly when I was a college basketball analyst. People went crazy on me. They went insane on me, but I got to tell you, I don't feel that way this year. There isn't any game or any series that I want to watch. I might be interested in the Knicks only because I do like Jalen Brunson. But the truth of the matter is the Bulls don't interest me, and I grew up a Bulls fan. The Pacers aren't in the playoffs. The Pelicans didn't interest me. Maybe Zion would have, but he's fat. LeBron James doesn't really interest me. Ja Morant's an idiot and continues to be an idiot, won't stop being an idiot, can't stop being an idiot. That doesn't interest me. So maybe I am representative of not only the old crowd of NBA, but NBA fans in general that aren't just in love with wanting to be a part of the life. I don't know. But I do know this. There isn't any series that I am dying to watch. Good for Patrick Cantlay. Now, who's Patrick Cantlay? Patrick Cantlay is one of the greatest golfers that we currently have on tour. Patrick Cantlay, I did it after Brooks Koepka did it, but Patrick Cantlay got crushed for being slow ahead of Brooks Koepka and Jon Rahm, second to last group in the Masters. All right, well, Brooks Koepka called him out, the group in front of us. He said that Jon Rahm was able to go to the bathroom 6 or 7 times. Cantlay didn't appreciate it. Cantlay said, look, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody was slow. The whole place was slow. He said we finished the first hole and the group in front of us was on the second tee when we walked up to the second tee. And we waited all day on pretty much every shot. We waited in 15 fairway. We waited in 18 fairway. I imagine it was slow for everyone. He goes, yeah, one thing that's interesting is he sits on the Players Advisory Council is that you get all the numbers and the data. Rounds have taken about the same length of time for the last 10 or 20 years that they currently take. When you play golf, when you play a golf course like Augusta National, where all the hole locations are on a slope, greens are fast, it's going to take longer and longer to hole out. I think that may have attributed to the slow play. And then also, when the wind is gusting, the wind is blowing maybe inconsistently, that's when guys will take a long time. I think that's just the nature of playing professional golf where every shot means so much. He's not wrong. But I got to tell you, again, as a normal fan, I sat there and I watched. I'm like, damn, let's go. And I had nowhere to go. But I could tell, like, man, you put yourself in their position sometimes and you're like, how miserable. How absolutely miserable. Planet Tyrus is going to join us. I can't wait. You see him on Gutfeld. You see him on all kind of different shows here on Fox. He's the people's champ, ladies and gentlemen. He is. He's going to join us coming up here in a moment. I had to take a break, but I'm feeling good and refreshed. Woo! As the great Ric Flair would say. Be right back.
Welcome into OutKick the show. I am Clay Travis, your fearless leader.
I am going to continue to argue that sports is one of the great unifying forces in all of American life.
ESPN is a sinking ship. Democrats are now the party of the white, woke college graduate.
So the higher that number can be, the better you are with the committee. It's really that simple.
You gotta lean into the turns. You really gotta lean into the turns.
He's got incredible taste in which media figures he listens to.
Very difficult to go back-to-back years in the NFL with the number 1 overall pick.
I've been out of LA long enough to have forgotten that libs, no matter how ridiculous the scenario, are gonna live. Another week of inflation, another week with Biden with COVID, and another set of losers to crown. People don't watch the WNBA on TV, in person, on a plane, on a train, on a bus, or on purpose.
The scary thing, Tommy, is in the history of this government, I've never seen them give anything back that they've taken.
Oh no, they never do.
And they won't.
Why are we going through Melania's goods? Don't make Brittany Griner out to be some type freedom fighter. Shouldn't there be a little bit of common sense? Let's roll them, big boy. What do you got?
They want to find someone to be the face of domestic terrorism, and they want it to be a right-wing Trump supporter. Don't let them entrap you into doing something dumb. But they were hyper-rational. They looked at the data, and they said it makes no sense for me to submit to this COVID shot mandate.
Get the shot or you can't go to your brother's wedding. Get the shot or you can't go to your daughter's graduation. Get the shot or else.
The Thunder beat the Pelicans. Name me one player on the Thunder. Some guy named Josh Giddey had 31, 10, and 9. I don't even know who the hell Josh Giddey is. You tell me. I have no idea. And that's what I was talking about with the NBA. All right, here's the newest controversy. You ready for this? Major League Baseball. There is always unintended consequences, and I'm curious your opinion on this, you guys on the YouTube chat and other places. So Major League Baseball went to the time clock, pitch clock, whatever you want to call it, and it has shortened games by a significant amount, by a half an hour. It has condensed the action. Boom. Here's the unintended consequence. You ready? Loss of beer sales. Because of the shortened games, beer sales are way down. What does that mean? That means revenue for the clubs are way down. So, how are clubs dealing with this? Well, you know how clubs are dealing with this. It certainly is not to take a loss and say, all right, okay, our bad, we'll just take the loss. No. Teams are starting to extend the beer sales. Listen to this. The Diamondbacks, the Rangers, the Twins, and the Brewers have extended beer sales through the 8th inning. Most times at ballpark, 7th inning, beer sales were done because people are out of their freaking mind. The Miami Marlins and the Mets still stop after the 7th inning. They haven't changed the rules. The Orioles already sold through the 8th inning. So what's going to happen is teams are going to have to figure out, hey, look, we have shortened beer sales because y'all are nuts. But we're going to keep beer sales open longer. True story. I was at Wrigley on Saturday. Lee and I talked about this, we went to the bleachers. It was like the 8th inning. I, as I do all the time, had to go to the bathroom. The bleachers bathroom, you got to go downstairs. You pass a couple beer vendors. I passed one. I said, hey, it looked closed. I said, you guys closed? He goes, no. I go, whoa, hold on here. Give me 2 for the road. So Lee and I, we unexpectedly had a beer. Now, here's the problem. Players are fighting back. There's a guy, Matt Strom. Matt Strom plays for the Phillies. Matt Strom is saying that, and he was talking on a podcast, he disagreed with the sale of beer. The reason we stopped selling beer in the 7th was to give our fans time to sober up and drive home. So now with a faster paced game, and me being a man of common sense, if the game is going to finish quicker, why would we not move beer sales back to the 6th inning to give our fans time to sober up and drive home? Instead, we're going into the 8th. and now we're putting our fans and families at risk driving home with people who have just drank beers 22 minutes ago. Yeah, I don't know. Is it the ballpark's job to monitor? It certainly is when you're at the ballpark. You know, you can't serve drunken people. But is it the ballpark's job to worry about the time spent after drinking, meaning the game is over? Time spent drinking before you get into the car. Is that a ballpark's job? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And maybe that is the reason they cut out beer sales. I don't know. But one thing I do know is there is not a chance in hell that a major league operation like Major League Baseball is going to move beer sales to the frickin' 6th inning as opposed to moving it later. Hey, money talks, BS walks. We know this. Speaking of money, oh man, no one's got more money than Tyrus. Tyrus got more money than God. You watch him, you see him, you know him. Hey, you guys on Gutfeld, you guys are the standard, man. You guys are the #1 show like in the history of the world. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, I have to stop you because I have kids, so therefore I have no money. That's why you see me so much.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, let me add to that. I got kids and an ex-wife. That's why I got no money. That's why I'm sitting around.
So we're working week together.
Let me ask you a couple of things. You as the people's champ, you as the world's heavyweight champ, you're not afraid to speak out. Give me your take before President Donald Trump and President Donald Trump. In your mind, was there any difference? Because a lot of people are coming out, and Stephen A. Smith just did the other day, you know, I really liked Donald Trump before he was president. Give me your take on that kind of take.
I think that's the testing the waters take. I think we're seeing a real shift. It was, you know, during President Trump's presidency that it was like a secret, you know, if you supported him. You'd go to sporting events and, you know, you expect to boo him. Or if someone, you know, that was like the safe way of saying you liked him and then he became president, you didn't like him. I think that was just a safe way of avoiding being canceled. But I think given the road of just what it was basically, let's just tell it what it was. It was a Democratic coup to undo the American people's choice of president with the umpteen various attempts to the Russian collusion, the impeachments, the lawsuits. It was just the swamp continually threw a different thing at him during his entire presidency. And, you know, when they got Biden in the office, they had convinced a lot of people that there was going to be this great shift and change and normalcy and things were going to get back to where they were before the pandemic. And what happened was we walked right into a progressive trap led by left-wing media. And we have a president right now who has absolutely no backbone or no awareness of what's going on. Biden was a moderate his entire career, although he's flipped on everything possibly during his entire career. But now he's so progressive that even Bernie Sanders is like, well, what are you doing? So, and I think that coupled that with just the general feeling of yuck across the country, of the way we feel, the decisions that we're making, that suddenly our eyes are open and you're starting to see more things. UFC fight this weekend, President Trump was there with Mike Tyson, Joe Rogan. The crowd was chanting for him. You know, there's a shift. The American people are seeing it. It's no longer, hey, I like President Trump, but I can't stand the tweets, or, hey, Tyrus, keep talking the good fight, but I won't come on your show. There's a shift. And, it started with, you saw it with Bill Maher, he's still a Democrat, will always be a Democrat, but they've gone so far the other way that he has more in common with a conservative. So it's just a shift, and Stephen A. is just testing the waters.
I agree with that. That's really well said. Do you think that there is a couple things? There is any chance cognitively that Biden can run again? I got two questions for you, both based on your answer there. Can Biden possibly run again mentally? I mean, I'm watching this guy and I can't believe what I'm seeing. And the second thing, we have seen public popularity, but the way voting is being handled, can that popularity of Trump spill over into the polls in 2024, or is this thing a little bit rigged?
I'm a hopeful, optimistic. I don't think it's rigged. I think we do have to come to the understanding that conservatives, we are outnumbered. There just are more liberals than there are conservatives in this country. That's number one. And there's a lot of people who don't pay attention. So they just see the lines in the news, they see the quick fixes, and unfortunately that influences a lot of their voting. And then, of course, the pandemic, the mail-in voting made things a lot easier for people to vote instead of standing in line and stuff. So, of course, you saw that more on the liberal side because, I look at going to vote as a holiday and a right. Like, I looked forward to standing in line and doing my part and getting my stamp and my sticker. That was like what my grandmother did, my grandfather did, my parents did. It was like a thing, and so I think that's kind of the Republican way. We kind of look at it that way. So we're outnumbered in that sense. The biggest thing for President Trump is going to be, what noise is there going to be when it comes time for election? Is he going to be bogged down with lawsuits and in these criminal cases or federal cases or whatever that they're trying to throw at him? How much of that is going to affect the independent voter or the everyday person who doesn't really look at the news? That's really going to be the issue. Biden's competency is really irrelevant because it is a group think tank presidency. You can't tell me it's being run clearly. The political factions, the LBTQ, all that. I forget all the letters all the time. Forgive me, but or don't forgive me. I don't care. That political influences has a huge effect on. We're seeing that we saw that with the way the shootings were handled, where the press secretary was coming out basically saying that the victims were the ones with the guns in their hands in this case, and so we're just seeing a shift of political ideology, and I'm not sure that it's registering it with the American people the way they thought it would. So Biden is irrelevant. He's a postulate. He doesn't do press conferences. He never speaks unless he's reading a teleprompter, which means it's being prepared for him. So it's a think tank. So I think it's the less he knows, the less he does. And again, he's my president. I'm not excited to be bashing the president. It's not something you want to do. I can live in 4 years of Democratic ideology. It happens sometimes. You always don't get your way, but this is beyond the pale. And so I don't really have an issue with criticisms. I criticized President Trump when I didn't like things. I'm a grown-ass man. I vote for what's best for in my house. I didn't like the kneeling stuff and all that. And sometimes getting into arguments and making reporters famous drove me crazy. But his policies and deeds are sorely missed. So it's just going to be a thing where Biden's not going anywhere. The fact that they keep talking about whether he's running again or not, his ego, he's running, period. And they're fine with it because he again will do whatever is asked of him, which is not how it's supposed to be to be president.
Of course, no, it's not. I mean, the president's supposed to be the leader, not the guy just following along with a number of other. Tyrus has book coming out, got a tour coming up, got a lot of great things going. And I'm going to get into all that, but I want to ask you about Trump. People are just discarding 34 felony counts. I used to tell, I worked for a guy named Bob Knight for a long time, and I used to tell him, there's two sides of this. You think you're getting over on the athletic director by being a jackass. Well, he's got an ego too. I mean, there's two sides of this with Alvin Bragg bringing these up. Where do you see all these criminal charges, these 34 felonies? How do you see this ending for Trump?
Well, he only needs one, and that's the general
right.
And I think to make light of it, I think is a mistake. To say that these won't mean anything and this won't happen. He only needs one, and the fact that he was able to put 34 up there. With most likely what would be a dominant liberal jury, I think Bragg has a good chance of getting at least one of those indictments to go through on President Trump. And of course, that is what the plan is. It's not, they just need him incapacitated to 2 to 4 years fighting in court and appealing so that he can't run. So they're basically trying to age him out. And it's, you have to say that it was a well played. You have to give Bragg credit for what he's attempting to do, even though it looks to me nothing short of what we've been seeing through the entire Trump presidency, which is basically trying to tell the American people that they know better than we do when it comes to our vote. And I think it's a sad day for America that you're charging a president for something. One, statute of limitations ran out. Two, another man is serving time for doing it. So it's just you hate to say, I hate to use the word well played, because I personally feel like it's, if they could do it to the president, they could do it to anyone. So they're going to go back and find to go after a political opponent. And especially with the situation working here in New York, seeing how bad the streets are, seeing how many other things he should be working on. The fact that they're willing to spend $750,000 per robot dog to videotape crimes in the street, instead of putting that money in the pockets of the men and women who serve and protect New York, just kind of shows where their head's at. They just feel if they take Trump down, everything else will follow, and that's where they put all their eggs in their basket. And unfortunately, 34 counts. You have to fear it, because they only need one.
Yeah, and all right, let's talk about that strategy. Take Trump down and we're good. Where does DeSantis play in this, in your mind?
I think that's where we run into a problem. We need to have the same attitude that they had with President Trump when it comes to conservatives, Republicans, independents, libertarians, and even moderate Democrats. I think the attitude needs to be beat Biden, period, not who is it. I don't care if it's Nikki Haley. I don't care who it is. Donald Duck at this point would be, I think, better. At least would know who was calling the shots. We see these policies that are only emboldening China. They're only emboldening North Korea, Iran, Saudi Arabia. I mean, I never in my wildest dreams that I think that Saudi Arabia and Iran would have a peace deal, and all the work that was done with Jared Kushner in the Middle East has basically been unraveled before our eyes. And we've seen with his Green New Deals and obviously he's getting a lot of checks from electric car lobbyists and all that kind of stuff, pushing those things on the American people that only helps China, because where are you going to get the lithium batteries from? And so it just gets uglier and uglier. You see Hunter Biden out shaking hands and kissing babies yesterday while they're in Ireland, and it's just shocking to me what he's been able to get away with. The whistleblowers just came out with, he clearly was part of a money-making scheme with what is the major players right now. Ukraine's taking we're sending billions of dollars in military equipment to Ukraine. China is literally making moves to become the world. The dollar's going to go through China. All these things are coming, and those are the two places where the Biden family have had influence and made money. And, you can't, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Pretty much a duck. I got to tell you, I don't care how Dylan Mulvaney walks or quacks. He ain't a woman. And Anheuser-Busch took a big risk here. Now, I saw something on your Twitter feed where Kevin Sorbo says $7 billion has been lost to this point. Look, tell me if you agree with this, regardless of whether you agree with Mulvaney, you disagree, whatever. In this kind of a situation, it's like sports. It's going to come out in the wash. You're going to know whether this thing was successful or this thing was a complete blank show, just simply by revenue, stock, distribution, that type of thing. You're going to know.
Well, and see, that's where the quandary is, because The woke are not concerned with bottom lines. They're not concerned with profits, facts, truths. We saw that with the woke interview with Elon Musk. You're interviewing a billionaire and you had absolutely no facts. You just tried to hit him with feelings. You feel that Twitter was full of hate speech, but you had absolutely not one concrete evidence of that. Devin Mulvaney is a performance actor, period. I don't feel that he represents trans men and women in this country. He represents himself and the companies that are paying him. He's the character that he's playing is blackface, but it's woman face. Women are dumb, emotional, make no sense, can't make rational decisions. He is everything that misogynistic men who were being taken down by the Me Too movement were viewed as. Like, that was the stereotypical, most disrespectful thing, that women are dumb, emotional, can't handle anything, silly, act like children. He's playing a character and not even good at it. And to the point where the Nike dancing thing, the women in the fitness industry have overcame so many things. There are so many unbelievable stories of weight loss battle and changing styles and working their butts off. And the fact that Nike couldn't find a woman, even a mother of two, trainer. I mean, there was just so many candidates out there, but it's not about that. It's about an agenda, and this probably won't end well. Most of these, we're just seeing it's performative. They're performances. We're seeing performances. We're seeing performances where guys will grow their hair out and try to talk like Martin Luther King, and there's AOC, every time she talks, she tries to talk in rhythm and rhymes now. It's performative. It's not substantive. And yeah, Budweiser, the ad campaign marketing man, she should have been fired on the spot. Anyone else would have been fired on the spot with losses like that. What is exciting to me because they've been playing the cancel game on Twitter. And what it is basically they've been trying to have their own court of laws. They decide who's successful, who's allowed to be. If they decide they don't like what you say, they can get rid of you. What the illusion has been that they're with their social media presence and their political presence and their buying powers with donors like Soros and that they've created this illusion that they're this giant number, billions of people that are behind them, and they're not. And so we're finding that finally, and it took men getting involved. Like I make jokes, but it's going to take the best feminist in this situation is men to step up and say enough. They have to protect women, and not saying that women can't protect themselves, but they're in a situation where they're being attacked by men who have decided to be women for the benefit of it because it's a safe place to be. Men have responsibilities. Men can't be careless. If you or I decided to walk into a woman's bathroom, we'd be fired on the spot. But if we dressed as women and went in the bathroom, the women are the ones with the problem. So, and Devin, like I said, he does not represent trans people in any way, shape, or form, just like Black Lives Matters doesn't represent me and 90% or 99% of Black people. It would just be like if I decided that I was going to pretend to be gay and all I did was stereotypical gay things on TV. I wore the color pink and I talked with a lisp all of a sudden and I was super feminine and silly and sexual. Gay men would be affronted by that. And that would be basically me wearing gay face and I would be kicked off TV. And Devin's doing the same exact thing. And I wouldn't accept that. I have no problem with if you want to have a beer with a gay pride flag on it, I have no problem buying that. I have absolutely no issue with that. But when you're going to put somebody or partner with somebody who is literally spitting in the face of women, that is enough. And now they got to see what a real cancellation looks like. And we don't have to tweet about it. We just have to keep our dollars in our pockets. And it might take a while, but Anheuser-Busch Budweiser was the most successful beer company in the world. And this individual, who clearly was an equity hire, went in there and in one TikTok video destroyed America's beer, probably permanently. And if I was another beer company, I would seriously be looking at this and take full advantage of it.
people think Budweiser is an American-owned company. It's not. It's a Belgium-owned company. Got sold a few years ago. I mean, it's kind of interesting. People don't really realize that. I think they're coming to the realization of that now.
Yeah, and that's the key thing, the realization. People are realizing that Twitter's not a real thing, social media, TikTok, all that stuff. If you turn it off, they don't exist. Like, turn it off. And that's been my whole thing. If you turn it off and just deal in your neighborhoods and look around and see what you're seeing in terms of what real problems are, not first world problems. Somebody being on TV or social media is not a mandatory job. It's not a right that has to be. You don't need to be on TV. Like, that's not a real job. Like, what we do is extra. That's not, if it goes away tomorrow, you'll be fine. You just might have to roll your sleeves up and do some different kind of work. So turn it off. Turn off the TikTok. Don't let your kids watch it. None of my children are allowed on social media anymore. There's just, I wouldn't let a stranger come into my house and start telling my kids how to think and act. Just because they're on a screen doesn't make it better. Like, we got to turn the babysitter off. And, these influencers who are targeting children to put thoughts in their head for subscriptions. And that's what it is. It's for subscriptions to make money, to influence children. If they don't have an access to your child, they can't get to them. So you keep them out of your house, you keep them out of your front yard, keep them off your screens.
Hey, walk me through. You got a tour coming up. What are people going to see?
It's a stand-up comedy tour. It's all over the country. I got Biloxi, Mississippi, Houston are the two ones that are coming up most recently. Crawley, Louisiana, most are sold out. I got a few tickets left in Houston and Biloxi, Mississippi, but it's about an hour and 20-minute stand-up comedy show. Not too political, just a bunch of laughing and a good time. And but you never know where it goes. And I'm like a dog chasing a tire. So, it just depends my mood on the day or what's going on. But it's a really fun show, and we're going to do a lot more this summer, and just keep rolling the course. You can always catch me on Gutfeld.
How about the book?
Well, I hate calling it my old book, but my old book's still selling. But my second book is about done. Just tweaking it or whatever, and whenever the momentum. Because, I'm kind of new to the book game, and they're supposed to wait till it goes to paperback, but we just never got to a paperback situation. And it's funny that in a time when accountability and ownership is basically bad words, not used anymore, a book simply about that does so well, which tells me that it's not what the people are hearing on TV is not accurate. Accountability, owning your own stuff, wisdom and learning from your mistakes and accepting failure still means something in this country to those of us who don't have time to sit on social media for 12 hours a day.
Hey, man, I love watching you. You guys do a great job. Gutfeld is absolutely fantastic. It's must-see in my family, Tyrus. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Go to Planet Tyrus, and you can follow more. Watch Gutfeld, and he's terrific. And we'll put up the dates of his stand-up tour. It's terrific stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, I got a lot to get to. I'm not done here. I got the damn awards. New York Bad Boys and Joe Dirt, what do they have in common? Oh, hell, I don't know. A California woman says that a sculpture in 1993 looks like a pee-pee and needs to go. We'll show you that when we come back. It's a big half hour coming up before I head to Vegas, baby, where it's just going to be, I don't know, Party City, just insanity. Be right back.
I've always been a very, very fond of Rob Manfred. I got to know Rob very closely during the labor negotiations when I was a player rep for the 10 years of my career. Always respected him. Always thought he loved the game. Some of the stuff that's happened in the last couple of years makes me question that. But again, I know the guy, so I think he's trying to come from a good place, even if he makes decisions I don't agree with. However, if you're curious as to the financial state of the game, when the manager, the commissioner, or the owner of a company says something in the media that just kind of pisses all over the quality of the product, you know that they're in a financially good place. Rob Manfred talking about analytics, and he's not wrong in a couple of senses this way. So he was asked about it, and he's talking about it on record, saying analytics is an arms race to nowhere. Claims that the marginal value of investing in analytics has never been lower, and he's making that claim. Franchises are pouring resources into something which has little return on investment, little ROI, and that is actively damaging the game. Manfred said, and he's right with this comment, once everybody's doing it, that little margin that maybe you're getting, I'm sure that whatever that margin was at one point in time, whatever it is today, it sure as heck is not worth the damage that was done to the game over a period of time. Okay. So I'm probably going to get bleeped here in the next couple seconds. But this, to me, is a politician complaining on Twitter. And my response is, you're the commissioner. Why are you complaining about your game? You're in charge. Shut up and do something. Why, as a politician, are you on Twitter complaining about the things I'm complaining about? I voted you in to fix it. Don't complain to me. Fix it or shut the hell up. Okay, I'm done.
You know, we keep growing and growing and growing here on OutKick. Those of you that understand, you go to the YouTube chat every day. We have numbers that are incredible off that YouTube chat, and it's only going to get bigger. Check out Hot Mike. Coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern time right here on the YouTube channel of OutKick. Hot Mike, you see the handsome men there. You got Jonathan Hutton on the left, and, of course, Chad Withrow on the right. Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow. Of course, you got Clay's show. You've got the YouTube. Just go to youtube.com. You're going to see the link, I think, coming up right here. Yeah, click the button. Tell me you love me. Love me. And then, of course, ring the bell where you get, well, I don't know, every alert that you could possibly get. Because, look, I am one of those guys, I got no life. I got no life, so I'm on Twitter all day. What do? I'm working every day, people. I'm working hard. So anyway, long story short, go to Hot Mike, go to the YouTube channel, hit the button, ring the bell, please subscribe. Let's go. Let's go. Anyway, damn awards, New York Yankees. I love the show Joe Dirt. Joe Dirt is one of those shows that when it is on, I absolutely watch and I like it. It's one of those like, all right, I can pick it up anywhere. I thought Dennis Miller was fantastic in Joe Dirt. Of course, David Spade was out of his mind. Now, I'm not the biggest David Spade fan because I went to see him in Vegas, Lee and he didn't even try. Like, you got to try when you're doing stand-up. But Joe Dirt here, he's the bat boy. And Michael Kay went on a rant basically saying, hey, look, here's the deal. You can't have long hair on the Yankees. Yankees have a dress code, but there it is, man. Joe Dirt on the right and Joe Dirt Jr. on the left. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me this isn't absolutely glorious. And there is apparently an upcoming Joe Dirt movie. I guess Joe Dirt 2. I don't know. But there he is in all his sartorial splendor. The Yankees bat boy going all Joe Dirt. So he's just sitting there being a bat boy. And next thing you know, Michael Kay loses his mind on him. And now he is a hero enough to be on Don't At Me. The Joe Dirt Diamond Award goes to this bat boy. God bless you. God bless you. I agree with Curtis Manlow. Vegas is the worst place to see a comedian. We were staying, I forget where we were staying. He was there. We had nothing to do. We had been at the pool all afternoon, went to take a nap, and And next thing you know, we're like, let's go see Spade. Because I liked him in Rules of Engagement. I thought Rules of Engagement was pretty funny. I don't even know if he was in Rules of Engagement before or after we knew who David Spade was and we went. The Cavender twins are going to take their clothes off. They announced they're done playing college basketball, despite having another year left. You know the Cavender twins, the little basketball ballers that went into Indiana and beat Indiana and then immediately started taking their clothes off, putting on lingerie, putting on bikinis, showing their ass. They now are going to earn a ton of money showing their ass off the court. They have huge followings on TikTok, huge followings on Instagram, and they know how to shake it. We told you this going back. My wife, Lee Ross, said women are going to make the most money. Little athletes are going to make the most money. They're going to take their clothes off. That Olivia Dunn takes her clothes off, shows her, bends over, and next thing you know, guys are simple. We flock to that. So these two young ladies are doing that. They couldn't wait 2 minutes after losing in the Elite Eight or maybe it was a Final Four, I can't remember, to take their clothes off, do all those things, and make money. Apparently they have a deal with the WWE where they take their clothes off at the WWE and show their business to a certain degree. It's always tasteful. It's tasteful, people. It's tasteful. But they got the goods, they show the goods, and they rake in the cash. It's OnlyFans, but not as sleazy. Good for them. They weren't ever really ballers, although they were pretty good. They were simply TikTok stars, Instagram stars that balled really well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, they get to take their clothes off and make a lot of money. Good for them. A California woman is mad at a statue erected, and I said that word on purpose, in 1993, which to me doesn't seem that long ago, but it is 30 years, and she looks like that. Is there any doubt in your mind that she looks like that? Let me give you a hint. Here's something you never see. You go to the store, you go to a restaurant, you go to a public place, and you see a woman being mad at their kid and making a big scene. We've all seen it. It's never a hot mom. Never. It's always something that looks like that, or some biggin who's got that Munchausen, who's mad about like Munchausen by proxy. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's always somebody mad about a statue, always is going to look like that. She's dying for attention. She's dying to be, the world should be according to my old ugly ass. That doesn't look like anything other than a rock on top of another rock. My God, it's offensive. It looks like a pee-pee, and it must go now. There was no chance that the Cavender twins or anybody looking like the Cavender twins' older sister or mother was going to be the woman here complaining about a statue. And somebody at old Channel 8 decided to come out and give this woman the attention that she so desperately desires. I need attention because I am old ugly woman. An old ugly woman or biggin woman needs attention. I need attention. Give me, give me, give me. There was no doubt she was going to look like an old shoe. I'm telling you, next time you're somewhere and some woman is grabbing her kid or being all nasty, I guarantee you she looks closer to that than the Cavender sisters. 100%. It's never hot mom from Carmel, Indiana, being a dummy in a store. It's always someone that looks like this, whatever this is. Nick Cannon wants to have a baby with Taylor Swift. Man, I got to tell you, if I'm if I'm Taylor Swift, I'm staying 6,000 miles away from that man's pee-pee. I'm not coming around that man, not even a little, not even sorta, not even kinda. That dude is a menace, Nick Cannon. That dude is an absolute menace to women's vajayjays. He is a menace. He looks at a woman, she gets pregnant. In fact, this picture might make me pregnant just because I'm in the same 3 box with Nick Cannon. I might get pregnant. Taylor Swift might get pregnant. We all might get pregnant. Hell, whoever put it up, Ryan or Dylan, whoever went and found a picture of Nick Cannon might be knocked up. The dude has 12 kids with 6 different women. Howard Stern asked him, hey, Nick, Taylor Swift wants to have a baby with you. What would you do? And they would say, yeah, she's an amazing performer. What do I love about Taylor Swift is the fact that she's been so open and vulnerable with all her music since she was a young girl. All right. Me and Taylor's number is very similar when we're talking about being in these streets. Yeah, when I think of Nick Cannon and Taylor Swift, I think of these streets. I think she would relate to me very well based off of like, yo, you've dated a lot of people in the public eye, so as I have. We would really understand each other. Yeah, well, I got to tell you, good for Nick Cannon. Good for Nick Cannon. He says, you know, Howard, my spidery senses is tingling. I would love to have. I would love it if you had a baby with Taylor Swift. I think it would be fantastic, said Stern. Me too, said Cannon. I think it would be amazing. Now, you got to remember, that's really out of, well, kind of character now for Howard Stern. Howard Stern is he is the representative of the scared liberal. He's the guy that sits in his home in the Hamptons and won't come out. And he's so upset that his wife had a restaurant to go to and nobody was wearing a mask. And can you believe it? Oh my God, Howard Stern. All right. Well, stay away, women. If you see Nick Cannon, do yourself a favor, get a diaper, get a coverall, cover that thing up because Nick Cannon just being around you. In fact, I feel like something just happened. I see a picture of Nick Cannon and those dreamy eyes and whatever he's wearing on his head, and I think I'm knocked up. I think I am. He's trying to have baby number 13. And honest to God, I don't get it. Since no one would fix the pothole, we're going to give the fully loaded Cannon Award. Boy, you ain't lying. Somebody put a stake in my heart or his heart. Look at the Terminator. The Terminator says, hey, I don't care that I slept with my babysitter. I don't care. I'm still out here doing good stuff. No one else wanted to terminate a pothole in his neighborhood. Schwarzenegger took matters into his own hands. And of course, you know what? Not only did he do it, but he did it on camera, which is a shock. Stunned that would happen. But anyway, so good for Arnold. Arnold decides that pothole needs to go. Guess what? That damn pothole needs to go. There you go. Get in there. Arnold's like 725 years old. And look at him. He's out there getting it done. And he's doing it in such a way that the pros would do it. He's obviously researched. He's got his bucket. He's got the topping. He's got everything he needs to make damn sure that the streets of Arnold World are intact. That's easy to do, right? We actually have a driveway that has potholes. It's not like we got this long driveway, but when you live by a lake, things happen. So I'm going to take this video, and I'm going to look at it, I'm going to study it, and I'm going to get Lee out there to fix our potholes because I'm too soft. And I got to go to Vegas, baby. That's right. The Pothole Terminator Award goes to the Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is fixing potholes, coming to a city near you. This is a true story. In fact, my friend Abdul is running for mayor of Indianapolis, and I'm going to vote for Abdul. And one of the things Abdul is running on is this right here. I heard an ad yesterday. He's like, look, we all remember when Indy was great. We all remember when the streets were great. We all remember when downtown was vibrant. Now in Indianapolis, what do we have? We got crap. We got crime. We got a murder rate that rivals Chicago. We got potholes everywhere, which is true. Indy is horrible for potholes. So potholes are actually an election mantra. Fixing potholes is something that maybe if you run for mayor, you ought to get out here and do what Arnold's doing. But find yourself a guy. You got to have a guy, don't you? I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to be doing stuff like this, get yourself a guy. Let him help you fix a pothole. Don't be out there potholing yourself. No. Fix the damn pothole with a guy. And next thing you know, not only are you a mayoral candidate that is talking about potholes, you are a mayoral candidate that literally, ladies and gentlemen, literally is out there fixing the potholes. No, Jacob G., I do not live in Zionsville. I moved to Geist. There's a beautiful lake out my back. I am a big wheel. That's right. I live in the city of Indianapolis. I'm not going to tell you my address because people have sent me, true story, to my house. I guess you can find my address. People send me a bag full of pee-pees. They were gummies in the shape of a penis. I ate them. I ain't afraid. I ain't worried about it. So there you go. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, so get out there and vote for the guy, Abdul, that is going to fix your potholes. See, potholes are a big deal. They are. They're a huge deal. They bust up your tire, and next thing you know, what are you doing? Next thing you know, you're paying like $600 for a new frickin' tire, and nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be involved in that. All right, I got a couple of other things before I head to Vegas, baby. Hey, there's a new helmet that is being introduced for quarterbacks that are going to reduce quarterback concussions. Now, it is not the Simpson helmet. And you say to me, Dan, how do you know the Simpson helmet? Well, I live in Indianapolis. And all of these concussions, all of these problems with helmets could be solved with the Simpson helmet. There's a dude named Simpson. He makes helmets for race car drivers. I don't know. It feels like to me crashing your head in a race car going 230 on the backstretch at IMS is a little bit more dangerous, even though both are very dangerous, than having a lineman smack into you as a quarterback. We saw it with Tua. The company that is making them is called Vicus. Good for Vicus. I'm all for Vicus. That's fine. It's the 02 Matrix QB helmet. I'm all for it. But all you got to do, NFL, is get rid of all of your ego and go see this dude Simpson. He has, ladies and gentlemen, he has a helmet for you. Jeff Bezos has said he is not going to be a bidder on the Commanders. I got to tell you, this surprises me. This surprises me because there are very few opportunities for real smart businessmen to get into the NFL. NFL franchises don't just come available. I mean, it takes an act of God or misogyny or idiocy for an NFL franchise to become available. All of those things apply to David Snyder, and now the Commanders, Washington, D.C.'s team, is available. I'm surprised. I really am. Says he's not going to bid. He had some interest in bidding. The Amazon chair did, but he's not gonna. So, you know what? Apparently, Dan and Tanya Snyder were blocking him from bidding. Now, Snyder's denied that, but who can believe anybody in this instance? That's fascinating to me. I would have thought one of the richest men in the world, Jeff Bezos, obviously runs Amazon. I would have thought he'd have bid. But he's not. So there you go. You know we always got a woke-a-dope. You know we got some dopes that want to be woke. What say you? What do you got, Dylan? Who's woking and who's doping today? Oh, man. Now, this is unbelievable, this guy. This guy, Justin Jones, these idiots, part of the Tennessee Three, are such clowns. They are such clowns. They are fake folks. At one point, the one guy acted like he was, I don't know, every man next door, white folks. Next thing you know, he's grown out his hair, and now he's on top of things. In the BLM riots, here are these guys. Don't even start with me. When I see guys that aren't who they are consistently, that are chameleons, and Tyrus said it best. Now we see AOC, she speaks like this. When she was running for election, she was trying to be the little girl next door, and it won for her. Now all of a sudden we're militant. Yeah, go get him, Justin Jones. We believe you, baby. We believe in your militancy. We believe in your activism. We believe in you. You guys are so fake. Jeez, it would be like if I put a headphone on or if I put a fake bunch of hair on. Justin Pearson is now gyrating with a big fro trying to be Colin too. Go to Jason Whitlock if you really want to make fun of what's going on here with the Tennessee 3. How about the Tennessee 3? How about Kamala Harris coming to Tennessee to talk to the Tennessee 3 and having no interest in the 6 people's families that died? I'm telling you, man, there is evil all around us. Go get them. The Tennessee 3. I got one in the strap, man. I got one in the hole and I got my strap on. Yeah, I'm gangster. I'm Angel Reese. Jesus, what a world. What else you got? Oh, yeah, what is this? This clown from Harry Potter tells trans children that adults concerned about gender transition are condescending. And we should trust kids to tell them who they are. Yeah, shut up. How stupid are you? Kids think boogers taste good. Seriously. Of course you should be condescending to kids. Good. Daniel frickin' Radcliffe, some punk that plays a fictional character, is going to tell parents how to parent? Are you out of your mind? Another example of Hollywood's evilness, self-importance, and stupidity. So Daniel Radcliffe, hey, I play Harry Potter, pay attention to me. Kids out there, if you want to cut off your genitals, then you should. And parents are just condescending if they don't agree with you. How stupid are you? Seriously. Kids that believe in Santa Claus eat boogers, are afraid of the boogeyman. Yeah, let them cut their genitalia off. Let them make decisions on their transgender and criticize parents for being condescending. Hey, look, Dad, today, I remember doing this as a kid. There was a pitcher for the Cubs named Ted Abernathy. All right? Ted Abernathy was a sidearm underhand pitcher. I literally did this. I think I was like 8, 10, whatever. I literally threw a rubber ball against our wall, our garage door, hoping, and I believe this, people that drove by would think that me as an 8 or 10 or 12-year-old, whatever I was Ted Abernathy. And they would stop and ask for my autograph. That's how kids think, you freaking moron, Daniel Radcliffe. And then I remember we went to Meadows Apothecary. You don't even know what an apothecary is. I don't either, but it was Meadows Apothecary. And I went down the aisle doing that, hoping that people would think that I was Cubs reliever Ted Abernathy. That's the brain of a child, you moron. That's the brain of a kid. What's wrong with you? The brain of a kid. See, that brain, even though I was smarter than most, should not make adult decisions on getting my pee-pee cut off. Because, well, it's cool. What's wrong with you? You got plenty of time to cut off your breasts. You got plenty of time to cut off the pee-pee. You don't need to do it as a kid. People are complete idiots. Honest to God. Anybody paying attention to Daniel frickin' Radcliffe ought to have their head examined. Anybody paying attention to these idiots, really, I'm not saying you should be shot on sight. You shouldn't go that far. But you should be branded. There should be a scarlet eye on your head. Hi, I'm Daniel Radcliffe. I said this. Give an eye on his head. Hi, I'm Joey Bag of Donuts. I follow David Radcliffe. You should put an eye on your head. It should be automatic, branded into your forehead if you follow idiots, because these idiots are dangerous. Yeah, parents are condescending. You're damn right I am. I'm condescending. I'm disrespectful. I'm can be a little bit tough on my children, and they're great kids. Yeah, I wasn't going to let my daughter cut off her things. I wasn't going to let my son cut off his pee-pee because they came up to me one day and said, you know, Dad, I feel like a girl. Oh, well, let's cut off your pee-pee. What's wrong with people? What's wrong with you? Hi, Dad. Oh, hi, son. You know, today, Dad, I feel like a woman. Well, let's go to the doctor. My wife legitimately would have been brought in by teachers had she lived in this era because she was a big-time tomboy, better than any of the boys in basketball, football, baseball. The boys actually made her tuck her hair underneath her helmet so she could play fourth grade tackle football, and she was the star of the team. Could you imagine idiots like Daniel Radcliffe or some of these idiot teachers you see on TikTok getting a hold of her? It would have been awesome if they did, because Sandy Ross would have come in and destroyed the entire school. She would have come in and left a bag of bodies in her wake for any teacher trying to turn the lovely Lee Ross Dakich into a boy. Man, Gigi Meyer, Urban's son, or Urban's daughter, excuse me. Gigi was a great athlete, played in our backyard with the boys, kicked their backsides. I could only imagine if St. Charles Elementary or I think it was St. Al's. I get all the saints mixed up where my kids went to school. But at St. Aloysius, if the nuns, I don't know if they had nuns, if the teachers would have said, hey, Gigi, we think you're a little boy. Oh my God, Shelley Meyer, the strongest of women, would have stabbed somebody in the neck. I can see the headline in the Indianapolis Star, Dakich calls for more school violence. No, that's not exactly it. Swear to God, it's unbelievable to me. It really is truly unbelievable. So Daniel Radcliffe, you suck. Daniel Radcliffe, you got no bearing on nothing. Daniel Radcliffe, kiss my backside, you punk. Yes, mommies and daddies are condescending. You're damn right. Better to be condescending and save your kids from people like Daniel Radcliffe or any of these folks that want to slice up your kid than to go along. I'm going to be in Vegas, baby. That's right. Southwest Airlines, my brother and I are on the flight. I think we'll get hammered and create an incident. You know what I do when I get on flights? True story. I put my hat down. I sit there. I don't bother nobody. I don't say nothing. And then I think it's a 3-hour flight, maybe to Vegas, 2.5, 3, probably 3. I go to the bathroom about 16 times. But I'll tell you this, my search and rescue mission is to find a spot by the sports book and do the show with a sports book in our background. Because you can't bet there. You can't use DraftKings there. So every bet that I make is going to have to be at the sports book. Playing golf on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to win so much money that I'm going to move to the other side of this lake where the rich families live. That's right. That's the plan. Thanks to everybody for watching. YouTube, do me a favor. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell. Let's go. Thanks for being there every day, all of you men and women of the Dakich Army. Thanks to our friends, Dylan and Ryan. Do a great job every single morning. There you see. And, of course, Gary and Aaron. Aaron's working tirelessly. Haley's working tirelessly. Kaylee's working tirelessly. Everybody's working tirelessly. And OutKick is taking over the world. You got Clay's show coming up at noon. You got the show coming up at 3. That would be Hot Mike with our friends, Chad Withrow and, of course, Jonathan Hutton. Have a great afternoon. I'm getting on a flight. I'll see you tomorrow from Vegas, baby. It's going to be hookers. No, it's not. I'm not porn guy. I'm just not. I'm not hooker guy. I'm not porn guy. I'm kind of boring. See you tomorrow.